In part 1 of CAD to Reality, I showed you how I designed my own FPV frame. I talked about the ideas behind it, the decisions I had to make, and how the frame slowly went from a rough concept to a finished 3D model. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch part 1. But designing the frame was only the beginning. Now it was time to turn these digital files into actual carbon. At first I thought finding a manufacturer would be fairly straightforward. Just search for Carbon Cutting Service China, send them the files, get a price and place the order. Well, it wasn't quite that simple. I contacted supplier after supplier, sent out my designs, explained the different parts and waited for quotations. Some never replied, some offers were way too expensive, and with others, communication was difficult. There was the time difference, technical details getting lost in translation, and a lot of back and forth just to make sure they actually understood what I wanted. And getting the carbon cut was only one part of the process. I also had to source all the screws, standoffs, and deal with quite a few small administrative hurdles along the way. Eventually, I had to choose one supplier and go all in. I sent them what I thought were the final production files, followed by what felt like 10 more final versions. Luckily, the supplier was incredibly patient with me. Then I transferred an uncomfortable amount of money to a company I had never worked with, and waited. Honestly, I was incredibly nervous. I had no idea what would arrive, if anything at all. Until one day. I am so freaking excited. Let's do this!
Alright, let's see what we've got here. That is the base plate. It looks amazing. Looks so cool. I'm so hyped. Alright, let's move on to the next plate. That's the front plate. Looks and feels ultra sturdy. That's the top plate. Too freaking cool. And this is the locking plate, or locking plates. You need 2 per frame. And the most important part, the arms. Mine flies with 4 of them. And I am so freaking excited to finally find out whether the parts will fit together, whether the tolerances are okay. Yeah, let's find out. I'm starting with the stack screws. They go in here. I'll open those. So flush. Out. Then a nut. Tiny bit of Loctite. Yeah, absolutely flush. Perfect. So cool. So let's install the arms together with the arm locking plates with a flexible TPU mid layer. And I hope so much that this works. Okay, the tolerances of the holes were ultra tight. I might have to loosen that a little bit for future builds, as this is ultra very tight. I had to squeeze the arm in very hard to actually make the screws go in. But now it's so sturdy, and I'm 100% sure this has 0 vibrations. There is no play at all. on each axis. Yeah, if this will not fly great, I have no idea what will. These are 6 millimeters in diameter and 20 millimeters in the back and 28 in the front. So it's 2 in the front and 4 in the back. That's what she said. Then for the canopy, I ordered these square nuts of AliExpress as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And this one goes like this. Before adding the lipo saver, let's just wait. How cool does this look? How cool does this look? Let's just wait it. 4 screws missing, so these are the 4 screws. 160 gram. The parts that I will be using are unfortunately not new ones. This is a Foxy Reaper in 55 amps paired with a Diatone Mamba MK2. That's an F405 ELRS Happy Model EP1 and the Wi-Fi Finder V2. This is a very beaten down DJI O3, but it's still doing a great job. And last but not least, the motors. I'll be using my trusty Velox V3 by T-Hobby in 1950 kV. I was super stoked when Mapsking reached out to me and asked whether I want to test their shopping experience by sending me motors of my choice, and I did not hesitate and I did not have to think twice which motors I'll be getting. It was Velox V3.
Well, just when I was about to say how much I liked his motors, Niels Vo dropped a really interesting motor comparison. In his testing, the Velox V3 didn't perform nearly as well as I expected. On the other hand, the Mapsking SZ is ranked as the best budget motor and 3rd overall. My personal experience with the Velox V3 has been great, but after seeing Niels' results, I'd probably recommend checking out the Mapsking SZ instead. Overall, I've been really impressed with Mapsking. The shipping was surprisingly fast, and their prices for motors, ESCs and flight controllers are the lowest I've come across. It's definitely worth comparing their prices before buying elsewhere. Okay, and if you want to see how the maiden flight went, what happened when we spent a whole week flying only these frames on a Bender road trip? And most importantly, whether this thing is really as indestructible as I hoped it would be. Then don't miss the next episode of CAD to Reality.